Hey guys, welcome back to another podcast with myself and Shamirkp. Hope you guys are all doing well. Hope you guys have had a good day, whatever you've been doing. Shamirkp, we got another good one for you today. How are things? What's been going on?
Very well. Just finished work. Decent day. Not too bad. Not too shabby.
Not too bad.
All
Not
fresh.
too stressful.
Not too stressful. Went to the gym in
Good.
the morning. Got a little pump. How about yourself?
Yeah, work was all right. Usual stuff. But we got we'll forget about our boring work lives and we'll crack on with what we want to talk on. Talk on today. We got some interesting topics that we're going to cover. We're going to cover the sad passing of Chadwick Boseman. We're going to cover then the weird and wide world of collabs, and one of the strangest collabs we've seen for a little while, but one that has intrigued us the most. So we'll touch on that later. And then we'll finally touch on the nut job that is David Blaine. Obviously, you guys have probably already seen his like just, I don't even, there's no words to describe him really. I don't even know what to describe him, but we'll touch on that later. But if you guys haven't seen on YouTube Originals, he did his latest stunt called Ascension. But we'll touch on that towards the end of the episode. We want to start off with, I guess, a bit of a tribute, a bit of a kind of speech and stuff on Chadwick Boseman, who sadly passed away just last week. Of colon cancer that no one knew about.
Not a clue.
Yeah, and I think, I for me at least, what I took from the whole situation is that, and I saw this on Twitter somewhere, but it is kind of basically like, just because people don't tell you they are going through a struggle, doesn't mean they aren't going through a struggle, whatever it might be, whether it be health related, whether it be mentally, whether it be whatever it might be, right? And that's something that I really took away from this situation, because you might see something at face value from somebody, but you don't know what's behind that. And often some people might be putting like a facade, like a good facade, maybe like they're really happy, but actually, there are things behind the scenes that are really difficult for people.
They might be struggling with, yeah.
Exactly. So to never kind of judge people, always kind of be wary that there might be things going on that you don't know about. People don't have to tell you everything.
Exactly.
But bear that in mind and don't be harsh on people if people come back. But I guess what were your kind of memories of Chadwick and kind of his roles, and what kind of message you think he's left?
Yeah, man. Like, to be honest, I've only saw him in Black Panther, and that was it. Like, I've been meaning to watch, 21 Bridges?
Yeah.
Because it looked like a pretty good film to watch. I'll definitely give that a watch now.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, Black Panther was just incredible, man. Like, it's one of my favorite films. It's just crazy the impact that it had. I watched it like, I think twice in one day, and then 2 other times. So I was like, and like within a week, like I'll watch. It was
iconic. It was iconic in so many ways, wasn't it? In terms of the cast, in terms of the story, it kind of just hit a lot of those points.
Yeah, exactly. And I went to go and watch it 4DX as well. So with all the movements and stuff, those were back in cinema days. That's what I meant. Yeah. But yeah, man, the impact that Black Panther had on me was just like, I don't know, just like, be united, be at one, like be at one with everyone. We're all in this together, type of thing, right? So do your part, and that plays a massive impact, because it can complement someone else's part, or just that unit mentality, right?
Yeah, no, I make sense. I think well, and obviously what they, the whole point of the story is very much, protection and of their, of their, what was it, vibranium, I think it's
vibranium
called. And it feels like very much how the real world operates in terms of like natural resources and in terms of 100%. Oil and gas and all that type of stuff. And I think one of the reasons why it was a good film is because actually the concept of it, although it's a superhero movie, obviously a lot of the concept and a lot of the things, that the challenges that happen in the movie are very real.
Yeah, very real.
In the real world. And I think that's probably why it did so well. I think the one thing I take about Chadwick, I think, which is I guess a real positive thing, is, again, similar to you. I haven't watched his whole library.
Yeah.
I've only really mainly seen him in Black Panther, but I think from what I've seen of him, what I've heard of him, and obviously a lot more since his passing, was that he kind of really breaks that mold of like a diva actor, right? Who's focused on, you know, money, women, you know, all that type of stuff, right? Which is very much kind of the stereotype of Hollywood and actors who get a lot of money and stuff like that. You can tell from what you see of his actions, what you hear of what he did behind the scenes, what you hear about his actions, how he acts, how he talks, etc. That this dude is a very genuine person,
humble guy,
and is very humble. Knows where he came from and knows the struggles that he came through, and he knows the people that are going through a lot of those struggles that he went through as well. And I think he kind of provides a bit of faith that, you know, everyone in that fame world is not all diva and only focused on themselves and all that type of stuff. That they genuinely are people who are celebrities and who have, you know, are icons, but are also, you know their roots and know what role they have to play in society in terms of like driving change and all that type of stuff. So I think that's something that I took away, at least. Yeah,
because there was something about him actually like clapping back at Marvel, because I think it was something to do with like the accents used in Black Panther. Right. So I think they were gonna just use a normal like just like with no accent, basically no African accent added to it. I think Marvel had said like, oh, I think that might be too much for the crowd to take in, and like he just didn't care whatsoever. He was like, well, this is this moment here, right? Because it was essentially like an underdog film, right? Like I think in the whole Marvel universe, I think this
it wasn't like an Avengers style.
Yeah,
it
wasn't
like the top tier of Marvel films. Yeah, you're right.
Exactly. And then he was like, no, like let's do this African accent because people need to know. I don't care about like this person's gonna go home and think, oh, it was too much for me to handle type of thing, because it needs to be like an impactful film. And so it was, man. Like I think the reason why I loved it was because I felt it gave so much power to like not only kids and not only black people, but to anyone who watched it in general, who just thought, oh, you know what, like this, like to maybe see where they come from as well, and to understand their resources, it like tying it into the film kind of, and to be grateful of that. Like that's how I saw that film. That's how it portrayed on me, and the fact that it was just like hella cool. Like it's just a cool ass film, isn't it?
It was cool, isn't it? And I think it's one of those films that will go down as a like a really socially important film.
Oh, 100%, man.
There are many films in the past that has been the case for.
Yeah.
And I think this will be up there with those films. But yeah, I think it's you know, like he obviously went way before his time. There were still obviously many films and many things that I'm sure he wanted to do in terms of his own life and with his wife, etc., and all that type of stuff. Yeah. So you know, someone taken way before their time, and our thoughts, I guess, are with his family and stuff, and the people that worked with him and friends and stuff. But so I guess rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman.
Rest in peace. I think moving on and kind of relating to that is in a dynamic way could be like the power it's given people, black people in particular, you know, like throughout COVID and lockdown, like it's been a very strong topic of conversation in terms of conversations that need to be had, right? And I think a lot of that has now trickled down into the influence to mainstream.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, what we're going to talk about next, right? Travis Scott.
Well, I think it's all around black role models, I think.
Yeah.
I think there hasn't ever been enough black role models.
Exactly.
And I think you take someone like the role, take someone like the Black Panther role, right? That is a black role model.
100%.
That's something that's been, you know, absent from TV and society for a long time. And I think you're right. I think it's given, you know, that's kind of like a catalyst for more and more of those kind of black role models to emerge.
Yeah.
And you're right. One of those is Travis Scott, right? I think whether you like it or not, whether you like his music or not, he's become a socially relevant role model for many people. And And yes, he's crazy and he jumps around and his voice is, his songs are auto-tuned or whatever. But you can't deny the following he has. And if you've watched what's it called? Look at Me Mum. Yeah, Look at Me
If
Mum,
you've watched
right?
our previous podcast, we've spoken about this, and it's crazy how
man,
we had like
is...
15 people there, and he has like 15 million people now following him. Like
exactly,
it's just crazy,
and he's being that role model, and that's why his latest collaboration has caused maybe a bit of controversy, right?
Yes.
So for those of you who don't know, Travis Scott has announced, and it's actually been released now, a collaboration with McDonald's.
The Golden Bridges.
Yeah, a very strange one. We haven't really seen fast food and rappers collaborate before, but hey, we're in a world now where everyone's collaborating on anything. Supreme collaborate with anyone and anything and everyone. So
2020.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the controversy about it is, as we were just talking about, Travis Scott is a role model to maybe not young kids, but to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And McDonald's is intrinsically fast food, unhealthy. Not, we don't really want to be pushing that type of food. And so there's a bit of controversy there around, well, is that a socially responsible thing to do given the size of his following and stuff?
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think it's something that it's fine, or do you think that's something that actually maybe he should have maybe stayed away from?
Well, first of all, I think both parties just done it for the bag. Like,
oh yeah.
They've done it for the bag for days, man. Like the attention Travis brings to hype culture, and obviously the awareness McDonald's has, that Travis can, what's the word? Use it as leverage, right?
Yeah.
That collab, I think, was done for both parties in particular, and I think because McDonald's maybe want to aim towards a higher, more so not being as kiddie, and taking them probably a little bit more seriously. But I don't know, like what is the situation with the collab? Like, what's different?
So
let's find out.
Let's have a look. So I've got it up here. I'll have a double check. So the McDonald's, or the Travis Scott McDonald's meal. So it's not just a burger or anything like that. It's a whole meal. One I think is only available in the US. So for those of you watching in the UK, and for us being in the UK, unfortunately we can't get any. But essentially it's the meal, which you can order at a drive-through or in the store or whatever.
Yeah.
And it includes a quarter pounder with cheese, bacon, and lettuce. Fries with barbecue sauce, and a Sprite. So nothing like uber.
Nothing that you can't get.
Yeah, I think the quarter pounder with cheese, bacon, and lettuce is maybe not something they do, but it's stuff. They do it in other burgers, right? It's not too much of a stretch from what they would. If that appeared on the normal McDonald's menu, you wouldn't be like, "What is this?"
Yeah, exactly.
You would just be like that. And then fries with barbecue sauce. I swear down, they do barbecue sauce anyway.
Yeah.
And the fries are just fries, and then a Sprite. Like, is that his favorite drink? Like,
yeah,
I wonder whether this would be like, whether they had like a consultation with him, and they were like, if you were coming to McDonald's, like, what would be your go-to meal?
And that's literally, they were like, and then thank you, Travis.
Like, that means anyone can collab, right? Like, oh, yeah, McDonald's, hit us up. Let me and Shamirkp do a collab.
Yo, what is your McDonald's menu, man?
I was about to say, so my one would be, and the burger I'd struggle with.
Okay.
Because I've got a choice of two that, for me, are up there. So for me, it's either got to be McChicken sandwich.
Ooh, okay.
You got to bear in mind I don't eat beef, right? So that rolls out half of the burger menu. So McChicken sandwich or fillet o fish.
Ooh, with the
I would say I go with fillet o fish, just because it's a little bit different, and I kind of grew up on fillet o fish.
Yeah.
Fries I would have, and I would have it with the sweet and sour sauce.
Okay.
And then similar to Travis, I would have a Sprite with no ice.
Ooh.
As the drink. I know some people are big fans on milkshakes and stuff, but I've never really had a milkshake at McDonald's. I've always just been a Sprite with no ice guy. But what would yours be then? What would yours be?
So I feel like you're kind of changed through lockdown, because they had that reduced menu, right?
But, yeah.
originally it was the sweet chili chicken wrap. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I know the one.
And with obviously fries, large.
Of course.
And yo, this is where it changed, yeah. Oasis, man. Oasis
What?
bangs.
What, with the Mackie D's?
Do you remember our soft drink talk?
Yeah, we said Oasis
Like-
was dead because it makes your mouth dry.
But the few sips. Remember we said the few sips, man.
But do they give you Oasis in a whole bottle, or do they put it, is it like a refill thing?
Nah, like that refill type of cup, right?
Okay.
But yeah, that. What did I used to rock with though? I love the Sprite.
What was your pre-lockdown one then?
Wait, that was kind of a mix of both. So my pre-lockdown was the chicken, but my lockdown one was the quarter pounder.
Right.
So, this has made me realize I need to stretch with my McDonald's orders a little bit, man.
You need to experiment. That's the thing is like,
yes,
it's the same with Nando's. It's the same with all the fast food, right? I think people find like their menu, like an OG.
Yeah, exactly.
Their thing that they grew up with or is their favorite, and people are very reluctant to
change and
try new things. And that's why they put so much marketing into new burgers.
Exactly.
Because people and then they, and when you go into the stores, like they will be the biggest pictures and stuff because they know people are like creatures of habit, and you go back to a fillet of fish in my case, or the sweet chicken wrap for you or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're so less like so it's so different, right? If you go to McDonald's, you're incredibly unlikely to try something new. But if you go to a restaurant and you maybe been to before, like a fancy restaurant, and you look at the menu, you'd be like, oh, I got that last time, I'll get something different this time.
Yeah.
Whereas for fast food, it's like, oh, no, I just don't trust it. So you just go with
exactly. Go what you know with, right?
I guess I think that's because you want something quick, so you kind of you want to know that you'll like it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, if you go to McDonald's, you want food quick, right? And if you want food quick, you want to know that you'll like it because you're probably hungry.
Yeah, you know the quality. Well, you know what you're gonna get basically.
Exactly. I would argue though that the stuff that McDonald's pump all the food with, it's gonna taste the same regardless of what you get.
Yeah, probably.
I have a funny story, right? So obviously, as I said, I don't eat beef, right? So I've never had a quarter pounder or a cheeseburger or a hamburger or anything like that. And I remember when I was a kid, I went for a birthday party to McDonald's.
Oh my days.
And or we went like bowling or something. We went to McDonald's afterwards. I must have been like 6 or 7 at the time or something.
Yeah.
Not too old. And we were allowed to go up and order our food. And it was all paid for and stuff like that. So we just had to go up and order at McDonald's. And all my friends were getting cheeseburgers. And in my head, I was like, it's a cheeseburger. I can eat a cheeseburger, obviously.
You thought there was cheese in there?
yeah, exactly. Because I was like, oh, it's just going to be like, I don't know, chicken or something and cheese.
Oh my
so then I was like, oh, cool. Okay, I'm going to order a cheeseburger because all my friends are ordering a cheeseburger too.
Yeah.
Ordered a cheeseburger. Got back to my table. Mom was like, oh, what did you get? Tell me what you got. And I was like, oh, Mom, they all got a cheeseburger, so I got a cheeseburger too. And Mom was like, no. You can't eat that. And then I was like, why not? And she was like, no, it's got beef in it. And I was like, what? But why does it say cheeseburger? And
classic.
And then from then on, I was like, okay, I know what a cheeseburger is now. It's a stupid name though. I still keep my point. It's a stupid name.
Facts, because
a hamburger as well. It's not ham.
I never did that. But I thought that. I was like, why would you just have cheese? Like,
it doesn't make any sense.
Why
it's such a stupid name for a burger?
I swear. But I don't know. Is it the burger part that makes it like? Is that default beef?
No, because you can have a chicken burger.
That's why that's called a chicken burger.
But burger is the bun.
Mate.
Burger isn't the patty. But okay, even if that was the case, why would hamburger then be beef? It doesn't make any sense. I don't know if someone knows who's watching this as to why they're called these things, let us know, because my brain is still
I think it's from Hamburg. Wait, this can be done by a little Google search. Why is it called a hamburger?
The term hamburger, it does come from where a minced beef style dish was created. All of our burgers are made from whole cuts of British and Irish beef, with nothing added except a pinch of salt. Why called hamburgers when they're made from beef?
The
But ain't nobody gonna know about that.
True, but now you know. Now you know.
I'm just on McDonald's website now, and I'm like reading about why they only serve breakfast till 11. We get so screwed over here in the UK about the breakfast they serve. The breakfast they serve in the US is so
I bet it's
good.
Pang, get it?
Oh my days!
Like pancakes and all everything.
Different.
Oh, here we go. Look, the Travis Scott on McDonald's is actually a thing. Well, obviously a thing. It's a thing, but download our app. Dropping the 8th of the 9th, because Americans are backwards. Oh, tomorrow. It drops tomorrow.
Yeah, I think it's already live.
Oh,
I think it's already live.
Right, yeah. Track 1. What? So quarter pounder, barbecue, and Sprite. They call it track 1, track 2, track 3.
It's all just marketing BS, isn't it? It's but apparently there's going to be some merch with it as well. I haven't seen any. I haven't seen like official pictures or anything.
Yeah.
But I think there's a plan that there's going to be some merch
that
is released at some point. I don't know. It just feels a bit. And the thing is, it's not even like expensive. They say it's going to be like $6 for the meal, which is like about what a meal is anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
But I guess you know what we're going to see the pictures. Well, maybe we will, maybe we won't. But I'm assuming we might see some pictures on Twitter of like people lining up outside McDonald's trying to get hold of this Travis Scott meal and stuff. But I think because it's quite the actual meal is quite basic. I don't think that will be the case. It's not like it's a really specific burger or thing they have to create.
Nah, you know what? I'm gonna object against that. Because these hype beasts, you can put out a brick and they will buy it. It's been done, yeah. Supreme made a brick, and people.
Well, how do you think? Do you think there's any way for us to get it here in the UK? How would we get it here in the UK?
Yeah, I'll tell you how. Order that on the menu.
I wanna see. Wait, I wanna see whether.
You reckon there's someone outside McDonald's, like already bought like 20 quarter pounders, loads of barbecue sauce, fries, loads of Sprite, selling it on the side of McDonald's.
I'm just trying to see. I'm on sketchy sources here. I'm on the Sun, but I'm trying to see whether they. I'm trying to see whether they'll serve it here.
I doubt it. I bet. You know what it is?
Oh, it turns out, according to the Sun, it looks like they're going to donate a lot of money to charity that comes out of this. So what I was just about to say was that on the Sun, I guess I don't know how reputable this is, but apparently Michael Jordan had his own meal deal as well back in 1992.
With?
It was called the McJordan with McDonald's.
Oh my days. Yo.
Called the McJordan, which is a sick name. I prefer McJordan to Cactus Jack.
Yeah. McJordan's better. Imagine if they did
McJordan
like McTrav. McTrav?
McTravis.
McScott.
Nah, that sounds weird.
Nah. I bet they went through all these names,
Yeah. Like, can you imagine the brand meeting? It's like, right, guys, what can we call this? Can we call this...
but it's probably exposure.
McStormy.
Yeah, nah, it's definitely for the bag, man. Because think about how many people are gonna go to McDonald's, even in the UK where it's unavailable, and order that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like some people.
Well, apparently it says so on the Sun again. It says the collaboration will support charities during its month-long stint on the menu. Okay, all right. So according to the Sun, this was the rapper's favorite meal growing up in his native Houston.
Right, makes sense. Makes sense why it's like just
yeah,
average.
I guess that makes sense, right?
Yeah,
I can't believe I'm referring to the Sun as our trusted source, but oh well.
These podcasts, right?
yeah, gone ropey. These podcasts gone super ropey. But yeah, I guess it's if it's for charity,
fair.
I guess everything we said around is it a bad influence, I guess we take back. But it's still interesting, right? This whole world of collabs has gone crazy right now.
Man.
Now there's really no rules around who can collab these days. You know, before it was like you've got to be in similar lanes.
Yeah, man. Like,
but now it's like chalk and cheese can collab, innit?
Exactly, because I think what now you get these kind of like personal brands. So like Travis Scott is a brand, Virgil Abloh is a brand, Drake is a brand. Like so these people can collab with actual brands like Nike, Louis Vuitton, Supreme, whoever.
Yeah.
And make something of it, which I think is in many ways pretty cool, but pretty saturated at the same time, because you got to make sure you're on level.
Well, I think the reason they do it, is because the big companies, right, who have the money to essentially do these types of collabs, their markets are very much defined, and they know which market they hit, and they know what type of customers they get.
Yeah.
However, it's a very quick way, and actually probably a cheap way, to bring in a whole new market that wouldn't necessarily use your service, or maybe they wouldn't use it as much.
Yeah.
So it's like a, you know, if you think about, let's say for example, right? Let's say they paid, if this wasn't a charity thing, let's say they paid Travis Scott $1 million, right, for this collab.
Yeah.
That is still like infinitely cheaper than a marketing campaign that they would have to roll out across the US to attract Travis Scott's type fans
100%
to buy McDonald's.
Yeah, that's so true.
And so it's kind of a quicker, cheaper, sometimes maybe even more effective way. The only thing is, will those customers stay once the collab is over? That's the only kind of thing. And so you'll see a lot of other things during a collab to try and get them to stay, which is always a problem.
Yeah, it's trying to retain that, right?
Yeah, exactly. You know, why do you think like North Face collab with Supreme, right? So it's limited stuff because it adds some hype around the brand, but also you bring a whole category of people to North Face. North Face is like a huge brand anyway, right?
Exactly.
But you bring a whole category of people to North Face that maybe weren't looking at North Face coats but couldn't get hold of a Supreme one, so then end up going for the next best thing, which is essentially a normal North Face coat.
Yeah.
So there you go. You got a customer, and then North Face coats are really nice. You know, we know that.
I know that. Yes.
And when you have one, you realize, like, you know what, there's good quality, it lasts.
Exactly.
All that type of stuff. You'll go back, and there you go. You've got a customer out of something that you wouldn't have, a customer group that you wouldn't necessarily have targeted, or wouldn't have come to in the first place. So I think there are like financial benefits for doing this as well. And although it might seem like, you know, I'm sure if there were numbers behind this, like even if they're paying Travis Scott like $5 million, for example, that's still probably cheaper, way cheaper than an actual targeted marketing campaign, and actually probably is more effective as well. So I think it's interesting, and Travis Scott's been one of these guys who's kind of become the king of this collab thing, right?
And also, like the hype type of market, right? Because man, look what he did with Fortnite. I bet that brought so many people on board to Fortnite.
Yeah, exactly.
So
download the game. Once you're in the game,
you're locked in.
Yeah, and even the Cactus Jack ones as well.
Yeah. The Nikes, right?
The Jordans.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like he's become
a staple.
He seems like he's pursuing all the. What I want him to do is pursue a new album. Like Astro World was great. Give me another album. That's what I really want from you, Travis Scott. I don't want you featuring on Big Sean's Detroit 2.
Oh my days.
Whatever. That song with his is, by the way, I listened to it today for the first time. The Big Sean Travis Scott is dead. I was so gassed for it. I was like, Big Sean Travis Scott, yo.
Bro, they used to make bangers. Remember Don't Play?
Yeah, that song was dead though. The one on Detroit 2 is dead.
Yeah, was it Lithuania or something?
Man. Yeah. I was so disappointed. Lithuania. I was so disappointed.
A quick one on Big Sean. Yeah, like, mate, his lyrics are actually top notch. Like when they're deep in it. But
yeah, I need to listen to Detroit 2. I haven't listened to it properly just yet.
Neither, to be fair. But he's got like a very spiritual type of mindset. And I think that works well with Janae, because she's very much like that. So I think as them two together...
What is their situation? I'm so confused by their situation.
Don't know, mate. I think they're definitely
what is it?
together.
Is it a ting?
Yeah, it's a ting.
Is it not a ting?
It's a ting.
Okay, so I knew it was a ting.
Yeah.
But I swear down they broke up and went their separate ways, being like, oh, we need to give each other space and stuff. But then it's like, then they're back to being a thing. I don't even know, man. I lose track.
Hands up, bro. Hands up. Who knows?
Who knows, man? Who knows? But anyway, so we'll move on to the last thing we want to talk about. And we talked about crazy things happening, and we'll talk about a crazy person. And that is Monsieur David Blaine.
Crazy guy.
Who set, I don't know, is it even a record, a world record? I don't even know. But for those of you who haven't seen, he partnered up with YouTube Originals for his latest stunt. When you Google David Blaine, it says he's a magician.
Just literally Googled it. American illusionist, though.
What's an illusion? Okay, so illusionist is a magician, no? Illusion is illusion is magic, right?
Yeah.
But this latest thing was, I don't think either of those, right? And if it was an illusion, Jesus Christ, we're all fooled.
It was actually just a green screen.
Yeah, exactly. Well, essentially what he did was, for those of you who haven't seen it, was that he essentially was attached to like 20 or 30 like huge ass balloons.
Yeah, I'm just gonna show a photo of it. Kieran, you'll see this when you're editing. But there you go, guys. That's a photo of David Blaine and his balloons.
And so essentially he was just rising, right?
Yeah. I showed that up.
Oh my god. I love that film. It's
a great film.
But yeah, so David Blaine was attached to all these balloons, and then he rose up, was essentially just rising up. He had there were like cameras looking at him to make sure he was all okay and stuff, and then there was one guy who was like talking to him, just informing him of what's going on, what height he's at, to focus on his breathing, blah 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 blah. And then his daughter came on the kind of intercom as well, which was quite cool. But yeah, basically he was just like attached to this thing, and he was like rising, and it was mad. Like, you got to a stage where like they were looking up from the ground, and he was just like a speck in the sky.
That's crazy.
It was it was absolute madness, and it was a bit crazy.
It was a bit mad still.
It was like watching it. I watched a bit of the live stream.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what? Like, it's so surreal. Like, the guy he wasn't wearing any breathing equipment. He wasn't wearing anything.
Yeah.
Apart from just normal clothes, and he had some gloves, I think, or whatever. But he was just floating. And he was rising by like what was it? Was it like towards the top? He was rising something like 500 feet like a minute or something.
Oh my days!
Which is like madness. Like, yeah, that's not even, that's quite rapid as well.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so he was kind of just rising, and then at I think just under 25,000 feet, he kind of cut loose. And then he had a parachute on, and he parachuted back down.
Bro, did you see when he cut loose though? And the fact, hold on, can we just talk about the fact that he was putting his parachute on as he was going up? Like, usually you think, okay, let me put my seatbelt on before I drive. But this guy was going like 1,000,000 miles an hour and thought, okay, let me put my seatbelt on now. Like,
yeah, well, I don't think he could because of the weight. I think if he put it on, I think the weight would have been too much to send him up. I think is the reason why. I might be wrong.
But wait, wasn't the parachute attached like with him anyway? So the weight would have been the same, no?
Yeah, you're right. Actually, that's a good point.
Yeah, but he just done it for the purpose of being like.
Yeah, he probably just did it to add to the suspense.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Suspense. But I guess the question is like, what's he trying to prove by doing that? There's a bit that I'm a bit confused
like
by.
He
right?
can breathe at 25,000 feet in the air.
Yeah, I think it's just to prove to himself
That's
more
mad.
than anything else.
Yeah, I think it's one of them things that obviously it was for the collab as well, right? Like, it was for the attention.
Yeah, the whole YouTube original.
The attention of Ascension. That's what I'm gonna call it. But yeah, like David Blaine, he's actually, I don't know if you've realised, right? Because I watch like David Dobrik from time to time and stuff, and he gets like in rap with, you know, the social media stars like David Dobrik.
Oh yeah, he knows.
And all these other people. So he knows what he's doing in terms of his own personal brand as well. But also at the same time, like, yeah, like you said, is something that he does to prove to himself as well. Like he was underwater for 17 minutes, did that thing in London, like stayed in a box.
Yeah,
catching a bullet in his mouth. Like what?
He's kind of like a marketing, like they knew 100% what they were doing with the marketing of that thing, right? You saw before. So he did a MKBHD, so Marquez Brownlee. He was like at the site.
The host,
he was kind of like he was the host of it, right? Then like a day or two before, he did a video with Charlie and Dixie on YouTube about he did some sort of trick with balloons or something, and then he also I saw on Instagram he sent like this huge box of balloons to Casey's house with like watch Ascension and I'm doing my next stunt or whatever.
Definitely.
But, from a marketing perspective, they knocked it out the absolute park.
But who is purchasing YouTube Red, like YouTube whatever it's called? No one.
Yeah, the premium YouTube service. Yeah, I don't know. It was weird. I don't know whether they've actually announced any like exclusive content that he's going to be doing there. I think it was just a partnership with YouTube. I think, and I think they're going to start using YouTube Originals as a kind of a watermark for content they've created from YouTube. If you know what I mean. So it's like YouTube created content.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I think YouTube are trying to compete with Netflix.
Yeah, they're trying to create their own content, right? Obviously, creators are the ones that produce content for YouTube for so long, and that will still be the majority of what's on YouTube. Sorry, but they'll want to produce stuff that is produced by themselves as well.
Right.
And I think where it gets interesting for creators is where YouTube want to get a creator to do that with them. I guess the thing about David Blaine is though is like, you know, he's not a YouTuber, and it's kind of a bit frustrating because he's someone who's got all of the support behind YouTube, right?
Yeah, literally.
To do something. Yes, he's got a big audience outside of YouTube and stuff, but you know, there are creators and stuff like that who, you know, I wish YouTube were putting their money and time into bringing up the creators rather than going for big names that are
already kind of established.
David Blaine's a big, exactly. David Blaine's a big name regardless of whether he's on YouTube or not.
Yeah.
If that was on normal TV, their numbers would probably be less, but there'd still be a lot of people watching, right? If it was live streamed or something like that. But I think overall it's just a nut job, right? That's surely got to be the conclusion.
Like we watched before the podcast, right? Just now, man catch a bullet in his mouth.
It's just like
what? Why? Why would you do that?
Where's he come up with that idea though? That's what I don't understand. Like who's in his team that goes, do you know what would be a great idea? To catch a bullet in your mouth. And then he goes, that's a great idea. I like what?
Fantastic.
I'm a bit confused. It doesn't make any sense.
You know what it is, man? It's all those frogs in his stomach that he just brings up from time to time randomly.
It's weird.
Like
it's weird. It's weird. I guess
crazy.
It's hard for us to understand that type of mindset though, right? Where he essentially wants to. He wants to. Yeah, I'm pretty sure though. Alongside the whole kind of shock and marketing side of it, he is one of those people that really enjoys testing himself.
Yeah, 100%.
And he gets pleasure out of like really testing his body particularly. And I think he obviously gets a thrill out of it, right? Which is why he keeps doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, dude is crazy, and I'm sure he'll continue to do it. You know, he's been safe all this time, and I'm sure he'll continue to be safe.
What you mean? He got shot when he was doing the practice for that bullet one.
Yeah. But he's still alive, isn't it? He's still alive.
It's fine.
He could have died. He could have died from his stunts. He could have died from
any of them.
Stunts.
Yeah. To be fair,
like any of them really. But the fact that he's still alive and still healthy and stuff, right? Which is crazy. But yeah, like I wonder what he'll do next, right? I guess I'm sure he'll do something stupid.
We shall all wonder.
But he's getting on a bit now in terms of age as well, so I'm sure his age will play into it, and maybe he won't be able to do things. You know, you can't. He's not. You know, the 30-year-old he was when he did the London in a box thing.
Yeah.
His body's getting older now. He's got a kid to look out for as well, right? So you can't be super reckless because if something happens, his kid's gonna have one less parent. So he's obviously all got that to bear in mind. But I guess you know, if he does something next, the world will pay attention. It's just the way it is.
100%.
Just the way it is. But yeah, anyways, well, we'll leave it on that.
We'll leave it on that.
We'll leave it on that crazy man, David Blaine. And thank you guys for watching, as always. We really do appreciate you guys tuning into this stuff. Let us know if there's any kind of thing you want us to talk about or whatever in the comments.
Yeah,
we're happy to talk about all sorts. I'm sure we'll be doing some other type of challenge and tier lists and all that type of stuff in future episodes too as well. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that one. But as always, thank you all for watching. Really do appreciate the support. Make sure you drop a sub both on my channel and on Shamirkp's channel. And I'm sure we'll catch you on another podcast. Thank you guys, and see you soon.
Peace.